Golden Dawn, the only party in Europe that managed to speedrun from parliament to prison. Golden Dawn was founded back in 1985, but for decades it lingered on the fringes of Greek politics as a marginal neo-Nazi group. Everything changed during Greece's economic collapse in the late 2000s. As unemployment soared and anger boiled over, Golden Dawn sold simple answers to complex problems. Blame immigrants, glorify nationalism, and use violence as a political tool. By 2012, they stunned the political establishment by winning nearly 7% of the national vote and taking 18 seats in parliament. Greece had effectively elected a party that proudly displayed swastika-like symbols and organized street gangs. Their rise was proof that economic despair can turn extremism into mainstream politics, but the violence that brought them into parliament also brought them down. Members were implicated in assaults, extortion, and even murder. After the 2013 killing of anti-fascist rapper Pavlos Fysis, the Greek state finally acted. In 2020, a 5-year trial ended with Golden Dawn officially declared a criminal organization. Its leaders received sentences of up to 13 years. From the parliamentary chamber to prison cells in less than a decade, Golden Dawn became Europe's most infamous cautionary tale of what happens when a democracy waits too long to pull the plug. National Democratic Party. Founded in 1964, NPD was Germany's most notorious post-war far-right group. Its platform called for Germany's withdrawal from NATO and the EU, promoted racial nationalism, and kept the flame of neo-Nazism alive under a more respectable brand. The NPD managed to secure seats in a few regional parliaments, often serving as a rallying point for extremists looking for a legal face to their movement. The German state tried twice to ban them, and both times the effort collapsed. In 2003, the case fell apart in farcical fashion when it was revealed that German intelligence had planted so many informants inside the party that the court literally couldn't tell which policies were genuine and which were written by undercover agents. In 2017, the Constitutional Court ruled that while the NPD was certainly unconstitutional, it had become so politically irrelevant that banning it was unnecessary. The result was a bizarre paradox. The NPD was too Nazi to ever be legitimate, but too small and pathetic to justify the legal drama of banning them outright. Germany effectively decided the best punishment was irrelevance. No seats, no funding, no future. In the end, the NPD didn't need a ban to die. Time, failure, and political ridicule did the job better than any court could. Slovak Togetherness, National Party. Founded in 2005 by far-right activist Marian Kotleba, the Slovak Togetherness National Party tried to wrap its agenda in nationalist rhetoric. In reality, it was a neo-fascist movement that borrowed imagery and slogans from Slovakia's World War II fascist state. Its platform mixed anti-Roma prejudice, anti-Hungarian hostility, and conspiracy theories about Jews into a toxic political cocktail. The party didn't waste time with subtlety. Members marched in uniforms styled after wartime militias, staged provocative rallies, and openly glorified fascist-era leaders. Their version of togetherness excluded everyone who didn't fit their narrow ethnic definition of Slovak identity. In 2006, the Slovak Constitutional Court banned the party for threatening democracy and undermining human dignity. Kotleba would later return to politics under new banners, proving that banning names is easier than banning ideas. Communist Party of Latvia. When the Soviet Union collapsed, Latvia didn't just walk away, it slammed the door shut on its old rulers. The Communist Party of Latvia was banned in 1991 for siding with Moscow during the failed August coup against Gorbachev. Latvia had just restored independence, and the party openly supported the forces trying to roll tanks through the streets to reassert Soviet control. In other words, the Latvian Communist Party wasn't very Latvian at all. The ban was both symbolic and practical. Symbolic because it severed ties with half a century of Soviet rule. Practical because no new democracy wants a political faction plotting with a foreign empire to overthrow it. Unlike many far-right parties that rebrand and return, the Communist Party of Latvia vanished permanently. Its members scattered into smaller socialist movements, but the main organization never came back. Workers' Party. Founded in 2003, the Workers' Party branded itself as a protector of Czech laborers, but its real program was little more than recycled neo-Nazi propaganda. Instead of addressing wages, unemployment, or labor rights, The party poured its energy into scapegoating minorities, especially the Roma community, for every social and economic problem. Their rallies turned into open hate fests, complete with Nazi symbols and skinhead supporters. By 2009, the party was organizing marches through Roma neighborhoods, whipping up violent confrontations and spreading a climate of fear. When the leadership tried to dodge scrutiny by renaming themselves the Workers' Party of Social Justice, it fooled no one. The courts recognized it as the same racist group hiding behind a buzzword. In 2010, the Czech Supreme Administrative Court banned the Workers' Party for systematically inciting hatred and undermining human rights. It was the first time in Czech history that a political party was dissolved for extremist activity. Flemish Block. Founded in 1978, Flemish Block was the main Flemish nationalist party pushing for independence in Belgium. But nationalism wasn't their only brand. They also built their platform on anti-immigration, anti-multiculturalism, and policies that drifted from tough on immigration into outright racist discrimination. By the early 2000s, the party had grown into a significant electoral force, regularly pulling over 10% of the Flemish vote. Belgian courts eventually caught up. In 2004, the Court of Cassation ruled that Flemish Bloc-affiliated organizations had systematically violated the 1981 anti-racism law. Their campaign materials and speeches crossed the line from politics into illegal hate speech, leaving the judiciary with little choice but to shut them down. But banning the party didn't erase the movement. Within weeks, Flemish Bloc leadership rebranded as Flemish Interest. Same people, same program, just a slightly polished presentation. Today, Flemish Interest still exists as a major player in Belgian politics, showing how banning a party doesn't always kill the ideology behind it. Free German Workers Party. Founded in 1979, the Free German Workers' Party dressed itself up as a workers' rights organization, but operated as a straight-up neo-Nazi group. Their rallies looked less like labor activism and more like street gangs cosplaying fascism. They borrowed imagery from the Third Reich, handed out racist propaganda, and maintained cozy links with international neo-Nazi networks. For nearly 2 decades, the FAP turned workers' politics into a cover for harassing immigrants and minorities. They claimed to speak for Germany's working class, but their real political program was thinly disguised hate. Even other far-right groups considered them a bit too blatant, which tells you everything. In 1995, the German Constitutional Court pulled the plug, banning the FAP as an unconstitutional threat to democracy. Their freedom rhetoric couldn't mask their actual strategy, replacing civil society with organized thuggery. The French and European Nationalist Party, known as PNFE, emerged in the late 1980s as a gathering point for hardcore neo-Nazis in France. It wasn't trying to play subtle politics or hide behind nationalist branding. Its members openly promoted Hitlerite ideology, complete with swastikas, skinhead gangs, and paramilitary-style organizing. Throughout the 1990s, the group engaged in violent acts, racist propaganda, and public provocations. Their members were linked to bombings, assaults, and anti-Semitic attacks, making them more of a violent street movement than a legitimate political party. They tried to present themselves as a nationalist force, but their ideology and activities placed them squarely in the extremist category. In 1999, French authorities banned the PNFE outright under laws prohibiting organizations that promote racial hatred and paramilitary violence. Unlike some banned groups that managed to rebrand and resurface, PNFE completely disintegrated after its dissolution. Its members scattered into smaller extremist cells or drifted into obscurity. Unité Radicale. If the PNFE was France's neo-Nazi fan club, Unité Radicale was its next-generation spin-off, until one of its members tried to assassinate the president. Unité Radicale formed in the late 1990s as a coalition of far-right extremists, skinheads, and identitarian activists. They styled themselves as militant defenders of European identity, which in practice meant anti-immigrant propaganda, street intimidation, and violent rhetoric against minorities. The group operated on the fringes of French politics, publishing extremist material and organizing rallies. But in 2002, everything changed when one of its members, Maxime Brunerie, attempted to assassinate President Jacques Chirac during the Bastille Day parade. The plot failed, but the message was clear. This wasn't just another angry far-right group. It was a breeding ground for political violence. French authorities wasted no time. Within days of the assassination attempt, the government dissolved Unité Radicale under laws prohibiting groups that promote violence and threaten the constitutional order. The ban was swift and decisive, leaving no room for rebranding or comeback. Communist Party of Lithuania. Lithuania didn't just leave the Soviet Union. It became the first republic to formally declare independence in 1990. But the Communist Party of Lithuania, specifically its Communist Party of the Soviet Union-aligned faction, wasn't ready to let go of Moscow. When the August 1991 coup attempt unfolded in the Soviet capital, this faction sided with the hardliners trying to crush reform and stop the USSR from breaking apart. Supporting foreign tanks over national independence turned out to be a fast-track ticket to a legal ban. Lithuanian authorities dissolved the party in 1991, branding it unconstitutional for working against the state's sovereignty. Unlike Germany's neo-Nazi groups that tried endless rebrands, this communist faction never returned. The split created a political vacuum later filled by new democratic and nationalist parties. The message from Lithuania was unmistakable. Backing a foreign dictatorship over your own people isn't politics. It's treason. And treason doesn't get a seat in parliament.